what about same-sex partners? Well, it's the same situation, believe it or not. Pre-existing cohabitation and prove it. And it helps if you have legal recognition of your relationship in another country. It helps. Sponsorship is exactly the same in the de facto spouse scenario. And again, this is a slippers and pipe situation. Every application that I've ever submitted for a same-sex partner prolonged visitor visa has been approved. Every application. So I don't think you can say the Immigration Department themselves discriminate. There are bigger policy considerations that need to be addressed to remove that discrimination. But they certainly come to the party in terms of the applications that we submit. Okay, so normally, once you've dealt with all the family issues, the other things that remain are permanent residency, because once you've been here for 7 years, you want to go on to become a permanent resident and have all the conditions that have prevailed as a temporary resident removed from your stay. So this conversation is delimited to long-stay foreign national residents that have been here for the requisite 7 years. There are other heads of criteria for the right of abode, and I'm not going to explore them because this is the business immigration talk. But effectively what you do is you claim the right of abode by making a formal application to verify your eligibility for a permanent identity card. And the test for approval is you need to show 7 years continuous ordinary residence. Now, in actual fact, it's a little bit more than that, because the way that I've couched the approvability test is to say that the test for approval is you have to be continuously an ordinary resident in Hong Kong for a period of not less than 7 years, and that any absences from Hong Kong in that time need to have been of a merely temporary nature, as evidenced by what you leave behind to return back to at the end of each temporary stay abroad. And some of the conditions that are always present in approved applications are back-to-back residence visas throughout the 7 years. If you've had a little bit of a break and you found yourself for one reason or another, and there are quite a few of them that I won't go into, with a visitor visa, as long as the fact of you having a visitor visa during that time has resulted, or it is as a state of administrative flux, as you move from one residence visa category to another residence visa category, and it's less than 6 months, normally the Immigration Department don't take that as having broken the continuity of residence, normally. But you have to have an active application in the system, and it has to be, as I say, of administrative flux, which is my language, not the Immigration Department's language. You also need to have a residence visa on the day that you apply for your right of abode, and you need to have a residence visa on the day that your right of abode is approved. Now, sometimes you get applicants who have been here for 7 years with exactly the same employer, and their 7-year anniversary is exactly the same date as their expiry of their current limit of stay. So they haven't got 8 years for one reason or another, usually because of passports and validity or whatever. The current limit of stay expires on the 7-year anniversary. And very often they've gotten to 6.5 years residence and they've started their own business, or they've done something else, but there aren't the conditions in play at the point where their current limit of stay expires for them to be able to run the risk of going over the 7-year mark where the officer needs to approve the application with a residence visa, because they haven't got the ability to get an extension to their existing residence visa. In that situation, what you do is you write in red crayon at the top of the cover letter that the expiry date of the current limit of stay equals to the 7-year anniversary. You apply 30 days in advance, and you put every single potential document that they could ever need to ask for in relation to the application to empower them to say yes, and then throw yourself at the feet of the officer when you get the letter and say, can you please prioritize my application so that it will get finalized on the same day? Depending on the officer that you get, you might get lucky and they might come to the party. They also know themselves that they're not going to be able to finalize that work if it's going to take them longer than that time, so they're generally predisposed towards playing ball in that regard. But there's no guarantee of it, and as I say, you have to throw yourself at the feet of the officer to get through that conundrum. But in the main, if you've got more than 7 years, if you've got a limit of stay that takes you beyond the 7-year mark, it's not an issue. But that's just a point worth noting if you find yourself on the cusp of refusal of expiry together with your 7-year anniversary. Yeah.
So does that mean that you put in the right of abode application prior to your qualification period? Is that what you mean?
No, 30 days before the 7-year anniversary, you can start the application.
Oh, okay. Is that okay?
Yeah,
that's the current rules, right? Is it the that the current rules that you can?
That's the earliest that you can apply. You don't have to apply then. You can apply any time.
Right.
But does that mean it's better to apply for extension of stay?
If you've got the conditions prevailing to allow you to extend your limit of stay, yes. So if you're still with the same employer that you were with last time you got extended, you would do that. But a lot of people, they don't do that. They've left their employers, they've started businesses, they haven't made the application for the investment visa, so they've got an investment visa thing they need to contend with, and then they've got the right of abode thing to contend with, and it's just all too messy. Yeah. That's what's so fun about immigration. Okay, and then finally you need to show that there's no taxation liabilities or security objections at the point of the Immigration Department finalising your application.